really? Oh my goodness.
It was fun. I actually really had a good time. Yeah, it was nice. You guys did a good job getting that together. It was obviously the most popular thing ever. Unfortunately, people couldn't wait for an hour to get in, and we had a lot of people just couldn't do it because we had so many people who wanted to go. So I don't know what, maybe I would have been better served to be like some kind of a traffic guard or something. Seriously, you guys, we had massive amounts of people who just didn't even.
Yeah, my children were there and they were very impressed. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. They made it all the way through. Huh?
I couldn't last minute. I was gonna go and help Sally out, registration or whatever, and I had a little, because they say that when you feel certain things, you shouldn't be going out. To around the people. So I stayed home for that day. Yeah, but I was so looking forward to it.
Well, my husband waited in line for 2 hours and never did make it with the kids.
Oh my goodness.
The thing was, some of the student volunteers said that they saw people come in twice. So they knew some of the quick way in or something. So my husband.
How is your husband doing, Lua?
He's doing good. He's doing good. Yeah.
Oh, good.
It was the retreat. I couldn't come because I was exposed to one of the family members. It was an extended family event, and so I didn't want to. I wanted to isolate. Our whole family was isolated that weekend.
Yeah, well, we missed you, but thank you for sending the food anyway. That was wonderful.
Yes, I made sure you guys get the treats.
Yeah, I tell you,
I gained 5 pounds.
Did you guys like it? Did you guys like it?
That was awesome.
Oh, good.
Hi,
I'll have
Susan.
to tell. One of my staff members made those because she's a baker. And I always tell her if I had the money, I would open up a bakery for her.
Well, I told her to come to the farmer's market.
Yeah.
Really,
I think that would be awesome. That would be awesome.
I
good idea.
Couldn't stop eating them. They were so good.
And she does all kinds of different flavors and different pastries and so forth. Yeah.
And they were so prettily packaged.
They were, weren't they?
She did a wonderful presentation of things. Yeah.
So you were there in spirit and in food. Hi, Daryl.
Hello, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Sally. Happy New
Hi,
Year.
Daryl.
Hi.
Hi, Susan.
Hi, Patty.
Hi, Susan.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Patty.
Hi. I'm sorry, I'm not on video.
Are you commuting, Patty?
Yep.
So you're still going into work. You're one of the two.
Yeah, I do.
And I'm at work. Yeah.
I can see. My book.
Yeah, we were off working from home last 2 weeks, and then now we're back. But we'll see how it goes.
Carol, are you teaching remotely?
Have been since the middle of March.
Okay.
Zooming right along.
Lua, are you going to have isn't your event in February?
Yep. It's going to be a week long. Yeah, starting on Monday, February 8th, and it'll land on the actual date, which is the 13th. So we're going to I'll send you the poster, Sally.
Online, I assume.
Yeah. And we're doing it virtual this time. Yeah.
How are you, I found like with MLK, it's so expensive to have it filmed. Are you experiencing that? Yes.
Oh, we do our own stuff.
Okay.
And then we ask our performers to videotape themselves and send them in. If for those who will send us videotapes, and we also ask the speakers to do their videotapings, and so that's the way. Yeah, and then we bring it in, and we have a graphic artist person who works on putting all the videos together.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. We've done that for all of our big events already, like the Luau and the Samoa Cultural Day, and yeah. So we've experienced along the way, and And we've become very comfortable with it now.
Good for you. Adapt and move on.
Yeah.
Well, did anyone call in and say that they wouldn't be able to make today?
Yes, Lonnie did.
Okay. Phil, we haven't heard from Phil.
Haven't heard from Phil.
Okay.
And Earl, I imagine Earl will join us.
Okay.
He just sent an email. He can't make it.
Earl can?
So
Okay.
Earl and Lonnie cannot make it.
Okay, so should we just get started then?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. Well, Happy New Year, everyone. And welcome to the first Arts Commission meeting of the new year. Hopefully this will be a good year and a healthy year for everyone. With regard to the December minutes and anticipating you've all had the opportunity to review them, are there any additions or corrections to the December minutes? Hearing none, could I get an approval for the meetings to be entered into record?
I move that we approve the minutes of our last meeting.
I'll
Okay.
second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. New business, beginning with elections. I'd like to offer it up to the floor for anyone to make it known that they would like to either be chair or vice chair of the Arts Commission.
How about you continue?
Well, I'm fine with that, but to the extent that there's anyone else who would appreciate the opportunity, I'm willing to step aside.
I move that Linda continues.
I second that. Second.
I knew getting you on board was a good idea, Lua.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you very much. I'll do my best to continue to do as you would have me do in this role. At this juncture, Earl had indicated to Sally, I believe in the last meeting, that he was also willing to continue in the role of vice chair. Am I correct in presuming that since no one has thrown their hat in the ring for chair, that likewise that's true for vice chair as well?
So moved.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, then if we can then affirm Earl Borgert as vice chair, please, by vote.
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay, thank you so very much, everyone. And then moving on, we're going to skip over committee formation. And if the agenda can be moved down a little bit to the committees, okay? I just want to provide some additional information here based on some conversations that I've had with Sally recently. And this is an interactive discussion. I very much appreciate everyone's feedback on this. But in looking at our mission, and the mission is very neatly positioned above the 2020 committees, and it lays out very neatly what our mandate is essentially. And we were looking at our work plan, and some of the things that came to mind that we are presently engaged with are perhaps not in direct alignment with our mission. And one of the things that came up was in particular, was the holiday committee. which is not unlike, in some respects, the winter version of Summerfest. And at this juncture, we have a limited role as an arts commission at Summerfest. We maintain attendance at an arts commission booth, and we engage with youngsters in terms of arts competitions and the like, and talk about the Arts Commission and our programs. But in terms of providing, how shall I say, direct input as to the structure of Summerfest, we don't do that. And I wanted to get some feedback with regard to whether or not you think it makes sense for us to continue with the holiday event. That doesn't mean that we couldn't continue to provide support or even judging of floats or other things like that. But in terms of actual planning and organizing and the like, we could defer that to the recreation department. If I could get some thoughts from folks.
I just wondered, this is Patty. So why, I just wanted to know why the change, why this is being brought up. Did something, or is it lack of resources? Is it just because it's not in line with the mission? Is it just, we should just fill in and do some minor things there?
Well, we really, well, thank you for asking, Patty. There isn't anything in our budget that goes towards the holiday event. The funds for that are pretty much coming from the city, from recreation, the recreation department. And in terms of it showcasing, I guess, the arts in general, it's more like Summerfest. That was just one of the thoughts that came up, that could we exclude that from our planning and our work, since recreation, the rec department for the city, can engage with that more readily and utilize their budget for that. And then could we get more involved in public art and performing art?
Well, I'm just curious. Was it one of the, not our specific work plan, but wasn't there going to be like a cultural, like heritage festival that the city is wanting to do? Is that something that the city's doing that we could participate in and be involved with? Or is that like a separate entity? Does that make sense?
Sally, do you want to take that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, that would fall under my purview, just like the holiday event in Summerfest. But yes, I think, you know, what Linda and I were talking about is maybe consolidating our committees to something that looks like a public art committee and a performing art committee. And within that, if we did something, if the recreation department did something like a cultural festival or an arts and cultural street fair block party, that both committees could be involved with that in terms of performing arts for performances on the stage, and public art if there's murals, or we wanted to do painting or any other kind of art that's involved. So the answer would be yes, you could, the art commission could get involved within those committees.
We would have as opposed to having some level of responsibility for coordinating the event as a whole, we would be taking maybe a segment of that would have a predominantly an arts focus, either from, you know, a public art, a visual art, or performing art focus.
So Linda, can I please, I'm kind of confused. Are you, so I thought Sally was the head of the Summerfest.
Yes.
Yes.
That's my job.
Yes.
And so, right. And Sally is our director, right? As a commission.
Liaison, yeah. Mhm.
So that means the Summerfest is under our jurisdiction?
No,
No. I'll let you take that, Sally.
yeah, I'm the liaison to the Arts Commission. I'm the staff liaison, but it doesn't mean that everything that I do that's in my job description translates to the Arts Commission. And I think what Linda is saying is, do we want to reevaluate that everything that's for our committees and the work under our committees is related to the mission? And is the holiday committee related to public art? Is that helping to promote visual, performing, and literary arts? The Arts Commission certainly really helped to grow it by adding the vendors, the judging. But I think what she's saying is, for instance, if we add a film festival, which truly does fall under the arts, it's going to take a massive amount of time and energy from the commission. And so do we want to kind of clear out some areas that are a little fuzzy in terms of actually meeting the mission and focus more on the actual performing and public arts? Does that help clarify?
Yeah, I think it's time. I think it's time the Arts Commission dealt with art. I love that. That was beautiful, but it was really a wonderful event for little children and older people who really seem to be driving through and enjoying it. But yeah, the arts should be, I think it's time to dig into the art, A-R-T. And we all have a background in that, and that'll be a joy for all of us, won't it? So the work that we really love. That would be my vote too. Thank you for doing that.
This is Patty again.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Patty.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, yeah, I agree. I would love to have like a part in it, like we did where we judged the the floats and stuff, or there's some like little element that maybe we could have a tie-in to these events, because they are, they have so many great different outlets for the arts that I still would want to be a part of them, but I don't think that they should be anywhere near of the Arts Commission involvement. And I agree. I like the public art or trying some new different things that we could do. So I'm for it.
Thank you, Patty.
Thank you.
Adriana, your thoughts?
Oh, I'm on board with that too. I feel like if something's not necessarily working, not that that's not working for us, I think that there's other opportunities for us out there to kind of just explore other ideas, ways to get involved. I think it's great for us to be involved. Like at Summerfest, we have our booth. If we're still some type of presence at these different events, just so people actually see that we have a presence. But I don't know. I feel like there's more we could be doing.
Agreed. Yeah.
I think
Daryl or Susan. Susan, go ahead.
I was just going to add to that. I mean, there's a big component of public art that we really don't touch much. And I think it's because we don't have the time. But it's the educational component of the public art, and making sure that all our audiences can access the public art educationally through a variety of different media, and from curriculum for schools about our public art. We should definitely have that available to our art teachers. And the same with film festival and literary arts, performing arts. So there's a lot more that we could actually be doing within the body of the Arts Commission if we had the time and the inclination.
Well, I think that you've encapsulated our thoughts significantly with what you just shared, Susan, because there's only so much time available. And some of the things that are truly very art-centric, we don't have the opportunity to do the deeper dive on those things because our time is taken for event prep and the like. And maybe this is an opportunity for us to kind of get back to our mission a little bit, and as Adriana said, explore some new ways and to your point, educational opportunities in the arts too. So, you know, it's again, it presents some an opportunity to perhaps move in a different direction without necessarily giving up on the opportunity to either volunteer at the holiday event and or others, or provide some role, whether it be as a judge or what have you, and some of these other things. It isn't about being cut off completely. It's just about taking something off the table so that from a more global responsibility to narrowing our focus so that we can portion our time maybe more effectively. Daryl, did you have something you wanted to add there?
Yeah, Linda, thank you. I did. I love everything that everyone has said so far, Susan, Patty. One of the things that I've learned over the last couple of years on the commission is there's a certain amount of momentum that kind of builds on its own. And I really think that realigning ourselves with what our mission is a great idea, both for public art and performing art. One of the things I found out early on, or one of the things I realized is we really have to start early, you know, thinking in terms of the performing artists. I don't think we really started early enough. You know, obviously we had COVID last year that kind of interrupted everything, but there was a really great momentum that we had leading up to it. And I understand totally that as a subcommittee, we make recommendations, and ultimately those recommendations are taken into account. And I like the idea of us thinking about who these performing artists are going to be, and perhaps that needs to start perhaps in the fall, and freeing up this time. In other words, giving up the concept of being involved with the holiday festival and redirecting it towards the concert series or whatever. You know, I'm kind of thinking big picture here. It's not out of the realm of possibility that some of these same artists that we are considering for the summer concerts could fall in alignment with perhaps farmers market or something like that. I don't mean to overreach here, but you know, it's just kind of
absolutely, yeah.
You know, and I really like the idea of making it making our constituents the community, and education is actually where I started. You know, and I've spoken at length many times on how I got started in the arts and in music in this community. And I don't think you can start early enough, and I don't think you can reach out to young people early enough to introduce them to the arts.
Mm-hmm. Which piggybacks very neatly on what Susan was sharing about education. So you're right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, access to the arts is hard anyway. So, you know, providing more of those kinds of opportunities for all our communities, I think, would be a wise direction. Mm-hmm.
So in looking at our work plan, we're playing with the idea of dividing it into two components, public art and performing art. And under public art, there would be the Colonial Plaza sculptures. We had a budget of $100,000 for that project. We're down to $95,000 at this point, having provided Perry with $5,000 for her initial design. At this juncture, we are where we're at with that is, I think we are engaging with some of our compadres in Tacoma and the like for artists who might be able to pick up that baton, so to speak, and provide us with some designs for further consideration. Are you aware of anything, Sally, that's come forward as of yet?
Well, so for the Colonial Plaza public art.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so Linda, I'm just going to make a quick suggestion, and that is maybe let's focus on the committee formation, because you're right on target with that, with the.
Okay, then I will.
And then circle back and get it, because.
Okay, I will break it. Yeah, I'll break it up in that way then, as opposed to going down the line. But as it stands right now with regard to public art, we've got Earl as the lead, Patty, Jason, and Susan, okay? And if, again, in dividing it up into public art and performing art, that would also include rotating art and these utility box wraps, and potentially any kind of special art event that might be at the Colonial Plaza or some other venue that the city might have. So as it stands, we have some folks who, if they're not on the holiday committee, they could migrate to the public art committee and align themselves with any one of those elements, to include, again, the rotating art utility boxes and a perhaps to be announced special event. Then under performing art, we've got the film festival and the summer performance series, and perhaps another special art event. Not quite sure what that would look like, but it would focus in on the performing arts. Not quite, again, that's to be determined, that type of thing. So at this point, we have myself, Phil, and Lonnie on the film festival. We would continue with MLK in the role of a liaison. And we have Susan as a lead on rotating, we have Lonnie as a lead on rotating art, and Susan as a member there. The summer concert series, of which we had Daryl, Adriana, and Patty, and Phil. At this point, because we didn't move forward due to COVID with this wonderful lineup of artists, I think if I recall, Sally, your plan is to just take that slate and put it in place for 2021, because it was a good slate for 2020, so it's got to be a good slate for 2021, right?
It is an awesome lineup. And Patty actually updated the flyer, and we have dates. So yes, the work is done on that. Thank you to that committee.
So there really isn't anything in terms of additional work moving forward to organize that, because you good folks have already done the heavy lifting on that, and that is essentially complete. So I guess for 2021 then, understanding how maybe we've made some changes in terms of our work plan, what our focus is going to look like, how would you want to align yourself, those of you who are currently on the holiday committee? Where would you like to land, whether it be public art or performing art?
So that would be Adriana, Daryl, and Earl. Where would you?
It's like, wait, you're asking us. I would love to just kind of migrate over to the performing art.
Okay.
I want to be on performing arts too, please.
Okay. Excellent. And I will leave holiday and I will go on to performing art. And Daryl, you were on holiday. Where would you like to land? Performing or public art?
I'd like to continue on public art, but I'm willing to let someone else be the lead on this subcommittee.
Well, right now we have Earl as the lead on public art. So you would potentially be joining him along with Patty and Jason and Susan.
That's fine.
Does that work for you?
Sure.
Okay. And Sally, do you think that we need another individual other than Adriana or on the MLK?
We just need, no, Adriana's a great liaison. If you're willing to continue that, it's just spotty.
Are you comfortable with that, Adriana? Okay, excellent. Okay. And the film festival is wound up into performing arts, so I definitely want to continue with that. And I would imagine Phil and Lonnie will too. So I think we've got everybody accounted for. What do you think, Sally? I'm looking at my phone as well as the screen here. So
yeah, just to reiterate, we're moving from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 committees to 2.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
We're moving the holiday altogether, making the MLK a liaison, and folding the film festival and rotating art and the summer concert series under performing arts. I am charged with creating a new event at the Colonial Plaza, which I believe will be a cultural and block party at the Colonial Plaza that was presented by the UPS Strategic Consultants. And that would definitely involve both committees.
Mm-hmm.
Input. One for performing arts and one for the public art component of that event.
And I just want to make mention of the fact right now that the film festival, because things are so still very much in a state of flux with COVID and not knowing whether or not that AMC theater is even going to reopen in 2020. Any real work on that committee is going to be probably it probably won't happen for the next 6 months, probably not until June. But come June, we'll take a deeper dive and we'll take a look at some of the information that has already been assembled in terms of structure and education and the like. And we'll hopefully be able to chart a course forward sometime this summer. But there isn't going to be a lot of work there in the first half of the year. So we can maybe harness our resources more productively and do a lot of really good work with regard to the groups that we've currently aligned in terms of performing public art and performing art. So going back to where we were, just wanted to mention that public art, Colonial Plaza, we've got 95,000 in the budget for sculpture. Sally, did you want to comment on where we're at with regard to getting new artists or what a new plan might be?
Yeah, so the next step is for me to present the City Council with options. And from my discussions with the Tacoma Arts Commission, we really have 2 options. One is a call to artists that goes out broadly, and the other is to pick from a short list. So pick from the 2 currently available public art rosters, drill down, pick maybe 3 or 4 artists. 1 or 2 could certainly be the runner-up, any of the runner-ups if they are on that, if they're on the public art roster, and then invite those 3 or 4 artists to come to the site, do an orientation, meet with the Arts Commission. We can ask them questions. We'd look at their portfolio and then describe what we're looking for. And then they would be paid a stipend to present 1 or 2 designs. So that's what I'll be presenting to City Council.
And when is that going to be, Sally?
I'll be giving that to the city manager probably in the next week or so. So we want to expedite the process. And so I
Okay.
imagine it would go to city council sometime in January. Jason, are you still on the call?
Yeah, I am. So what's the thought there, Sally? Because one way to maybe expedite it is for the subcommittee to maybe sit down and actually go through a bit of portfolio online, because taking your lead last time, I looked at the Tacoma art online on the internet, and you can look at all the different vignettes of art around the community and drill down, and it'll show you the piece of art, the artist. Then you can go on that artist's website. It may be worth the committee sitting down over Zoom or maybe in a large conference room table just to kind of look at a few of them, and then maybe we can cull down what we think look good and present those to those thoughts to the council. Because I know that the council, I mean, I got a pretty strong sense of what they're looking for, but they certainly want input from the Arts Commission. But I think we've got a sense of what we want and need now over at that location.
That's
Okay.
good. And I also forgot to mention that we'll not be asking for a water feature. Correct, Jason? That'll be taken off, and we'll ask for lighting instead, based on share the feedback that y'all you presented, Patty, and that was really helpful.
I like that idea of reviewing all the things and kind of narrowing it down when there's too many options, and especially people who might get overwhelmed with it. It's best, I think, to present some preferred choices.
I agree.
Yeah, I asked about the pros and cons. You know, the con of a short list, which I think that would be the way to go, is that you may miss an artist. You know, if you cast the net wide, you aren't missing anybody. In terms of expediting the process, I think we know what we want. We know the artist is going to do a good job, and we can pick them from the short list. And I really appreciate you sending some of those pieces that you liked. And I went and looked on the Tacoma Arts Commission website too, and I encourage everyone to do that. See what art you like that could translate well. At least you know the artist can build something similar, or has done quite a portfolio. You know, these artists will have probably up to 10 good pieces that they've commissioned.
Okay.
So what would be next steps, Sally? Do you want to just cast the wide net, or do you want to try to see if we can get a subcommittee meeting together here in the next week or so?
Well, I know Mary wants me to do a write-up to present to the manager. That it would essentially suggest those two options. And it certainly, in the meantime, I would suggest the Arts Commission looking on the Tacoma Arts Commission website, like you suggested, and getting us for artists in the area who have, and start looking at their portfolio, so that if we do a short list and pick 3 or 4 artists, you can drop someone's name in the hat. And yeah, does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay. And then we have rotating art under the public art piece. I'm not sure at this point in time what our progress is on that initiative.
Where are you, Linda?
Lonnie was leading that. Susan, I don't know if you have anything to contribute at this point regarding that. A little challenging with COVID, so.
Linda, are you on unfinished business?
Yeah, well, we're kind of going down the line here, but in terms of the things that are under each one, whether it be public art or performing art. But I think the next one on the list is utility boxes and wraps. I did want to bring in talk about what our budget is at this point. We have about $6,000 funds that were carried over from last year to this year. And one of the things that was brought up in conversation that I had with someone earlier is that it would perhaps be good to use not necessarily all of those funds, but a fair amount of those funds on something that could be readily seen by members of the community, something that's visual. And so the idea of the utility boxes, the wraps came up. And you know, the good thing about those, of course, is that we've got, we don't have to go too far to get feedback from other folks as to how they've managed that program within their own city, specifically Tacoma. I think Earl did some preliminary work on this, Sally. And could you remind everybody what the cost is of a wrap?
It's roughly $1,200 a wrap.
So that's certainly my thought in terms of what we could use that budget for, because everything else that we have on our work plan as such does not require Arts Commission funds. If you're talking about the summer performance series, that has already come from lodging tax. The film festival is deferred for this year, and block party or special events, that type of thing, that will come from another area of funding. So I'd be interested in what everyone's take is on how we might use those funds that have been carried over from last year to this year.
So you would like to know if, this is Patty, sorry, that if we could, should we put them towards some of our other events and enhance them more? Or would we just create something with some of the extra funds? Because it seems like it would be, or is this just for the wraps?
Well, we have $6,000. You know, we can choose to spend that in a way that enhances our mission one way or another. And the subject of utility box wraps did come up as a means to spending that money. We could get several boxes for that amount of money. But there's also been discussions about murals and other things. And I'm just looking for some feedback, because at this point.
And you're looking for something to get done relatively quickly, right? That could be out in the public eye. So I mean, if
Patty, yeah.
So if that's the
visual.
Yeah, so if that's the case, I'm all for the utility wrap boxes. They're really easy to produce. You can get them done, you know, I think timely, quickly. So I think that would be great. You know, and I love them. I love looking at them personally. So that's just my opinion on them.
Interestingly enough, I was watching them wrap a utility box in the rain under a pavilion on 6th Avenue in Tacoma, and 6th and Orchard, I believe it was, as I was driving up to Lakewood. And I thought to myself, wow, that's a real improvement. So I think if we want something that's quick and effective and very visible, that would be it.
I think it would make a lot of impact.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that's a great idea. That would get five of them done. They're total eyesores. It's perfect. Let's do it.
Okay. So that
We have a
would,
good idea on
sorry, Jason, go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to have a decent idea on locations, because I think it's a great idea, especially if we have some real visible locations.
Yeah, somebody mentioned a little bit ago that, you know, you have a choice always where you put these things. You can put them in in an area that's already beautiful, but you can also maybe have some more impact by putting them in an area that might be a little on the, how should I say, unattractive side, and it could really make a positive difference. if you focused in on dressing up some boxes that are in communities that are maybe, or areas of the community that are not quite as maybe well tended or what have you. So at any rate, so I think what I'm hearing is that the majority would like to see something, some art on the utility boxes, some wraps that it will provide some immediate impact, something visual that we can say, hey, we did that. Okay.
And the
So
visual sites, Linda, are typically where the City of Lakewood welcome signs are.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, Lua.
A lot
So
of gateways.
very nice places because, yeah, everybody goes through those.
Okay.
It's a good idea.
It's appropriate, you know, welcome, for this welcome signs. Yeah.
Also, just even looking at where people sit at stoplights for long periods of time, like on South Tacoma Way and 512, like on, 112 and South Tacoma Way, like just those places where you're literally sitting there for almost like 3 minutes. It feels like.
You're right. You're right.
Well, this would fall under the purview of the Public Art Committee, and their first task would be to share the map where they all are, and you can go out, you can pick the locations. And there are some in really visible high locations that have just a lot of graffiti on them, so they're really eyesores. But that's something that can be done right away.
Is this something that, Sally, that maybe Public Works could give like a suggestion to of where they maybe, or I don't know who cleans up their graffiti at the city, if it's Public Works or PD or, who has the most kind of action as far as those boxes? So we kind of know.
That's a good question. Yeah, I have the map of where they are, but I don't know the answer to that.
Because that would be helpful in determining which boxes should be wrapped and which ones maybe shouldn't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then Print Shop Northwest does all the wraps for the city of Tacoma. They come out, they measure, they give an estimate, and there's just a little startup cost. I think it comes to about $800 for the startup cost, but then they come out, they install, they print the design, they install.
I co-sign on them. We use them a lot.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah, they're great.
Patty.
They're great. Yeah.
So it would be a discussion for the Public Art Committee to decide how to find the artists and pursue that, what the themes will be, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do we need to vote on the money is going to be spent going towards that? Or?
Well, I think that we should. So I'm gonna make the motion that we utilize our Arts Commission funds for this year and those that have been carried over from the prior year, not to exceed $6,000 for utility box wraps.
So moved.
Okay, so second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Great, okay. All righty. So moving on to some unfinished business. Could we get a reverse parade debrief? If we could start with you, Paige, since you were front and center.
Yeah, congratulations. I mean, that was like the most successful event I've ever attended. How many hundreds of people were there? It's incredible. And because everything is safe driving right now, I think that really encouraged people. Unfortunately, there was not a really clear drive-through ability. I mean, really, when people have to sit for 2 hours and don't even make it through, that's bad. Now, that said, it was great that we did something. It's COVID times. I'm not trying to poo-poo it, but you know what I'm saying? Like, we're not really good about traffic. Maybe we should have asked the police department to help us or something. I don't know. Just make sure.
Sorry. I just wanted to let Lakewood know that you are not alone with traffic and backups and people waiting in line for things. So please don't think that this was just, that event or, everyone should be totally, it was awesome. You are not alone. I have had backups like beyond belief. And I've in other places, like just even us going to Fantasy Lights.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
we've had tons of events, and it's always too much. We've called in police, we've done the routes, we've done all this stuff. It's just can't really be mitigated that well right now. So I just wanted to throw that in, sorry, just so we don't feel bad about it. Because it was awesome. It was
just
awesome
a heads
event.
up. I met with police triple time before this event. So I said traffic plan, traffic plan, traffic plan. So it's part of the planning process. How it's executed is needs improvement.
It's really, the town center is kind of nicely laid out. In theory, that would work, but it just I don't know, man. We did the best we could, but the best thing is to have things in our nice, beautiful Fort Silicon Park that has tons of room to park. When people, we don't have to worry about people driving, so we don't have a Fantasy Lights setup even. So that said, everyone who went by seemed really happy just to do something. So that's like the only thing we could do, right? Safely, and we did it.
That's why there was chaos, because a lot of people came, and it's a good thing. It's a good problem to have. Coming from a person who does dozens and dozens of events, big events over the year, every year, I'm telling you, I heard everything from my children who went there, and I was even in the location, but couldn't come over and be a part of it intimately. But so that kind of chaos, it's expected. And if you can do a perfect one, in any big event, especially the parking and also the driving through, impossible. But anyway,
let me know if you can. I'd love
let me know if we can.
the only thing,
but anyway, it was just fantastic. Everything I heard about it is great. And my kids are some of the worst kids in the world in terms of criticizing something. So when I heard all good things from them, I said, praise God. Thank you, Jesus. Mm-hmm.
There is something that's been working during these COVID times that my church did pretty successfully, which is basically assign times for things when you have a ton of people. Obviously there's going to be people who don't do it, but we just said, hey, we're doing a walk through Nativity Trail. You have to pick a time to come with your little COVID bubble. And it got filled up with 200 people like immediately, just an online sign up. So, just an idea out there, we're going to try to do time drive-throughs. You get 4:50 p.m., 5 p.m. Maybe people don't make it perfectly on time, but at least that kind of like slows down the mass, Yeah. You just say, if you didn't reserve a time, you can still come, but you got to come in our overflow time or whatever, because we all stayed in what was an extra hour. It got a little insane, right? We were supposed to be there till 8, and then Sally, you were like, can you stay till 9? And we said, sure. And it seemed like there were still people who were coming through at 9. But, for COVID times, great. Yeah. The time thing works though. If we ever have to do it again, it's worth looking at.
Well, to your point, that's what they're doing whenever you pick up your groceries at Fred Meyer or something like that. You have an assigned window within which to come, just so that they can avoid the masses. So yeah, it's an interesting concept. Hopefully we won't have to do that again, but going forward, if there is an occasion, that's an idea. People could reserve a time.
And the other thing too, because we're all just trying to be nimble with this, is like, if this continues on, having multiple days, which I know is a tax on resources and people's time, but that's something I think that could possibly be looked at too.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else have any ideas with regard to the reverse parade? Anything they want to share? Okay, moving on. 25th anniversary art exhibit judging panel and criteria. Sally, we haven't had very many submissions, have we?
So we launched the contest, and I sent you all the call to artists, and it closes the 15th of February, and we've had maybe 5 submissions from youth, and they're wonderful, and the little comments that they sent along with their artwork is really touching. 5 isn't very many, And I just don't know what we're gonna get. So we have a couple weeks to figure it out, and then we need to judge, and we have a 1 week turnaround because the last one comes in on the 15th, it closes, and then on the 28th we make the announcements. And so I'm wondering who would like to be on the judging panel. You'll receive it in the form of a PDF. You'll probably have 2 or 3 days to look through it and score and then return it. And it would be great if you have an arts background, but that's not a total necessity. So please volunteer if you're interested in doing that. It'll be between the 16th and
I'll do it.
okay, Susan.
You can send me the PDF if you'd like, Sally. I can judge.
Okay, Patty.
I'll do it too, Sally. Even though I'm not public art, I'm happy to jump in. Okay. All righty.
How many judges do you need, Sally?
You know, 3 is fine.
Okay.
You can have more. It's kind of a fun thing to do. So I would say we're not desperate because we'll have some of our sponsors and also someone who ran a similar contest who's an art curator is offered to do
That's
it
good.
as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I have Susan, Patty, and Linda, correct?
Right. So we've already talked about public art at Colonial Plaza. So we'll skip on down to Strategic Consultants Final Report Review.
Yeah, so I sent you all the report. It's 100 pages and it goes in detail about 2 events.
Yeah.
One is a mural festival and one is an arts and cultural street block party. And also Mary has charged me with developing a new event. I would like to do the arts and cultural street fair block party at Colonial Plaza, which would involve both committees on the Arts Commission, and it has a ton of potential. And Susan, you were saying it really makes art accessible. It breaks down this idea of art is and isn't, and it involves audience participation and voting and fan favorites. And they had this great idea of giving out tokens to every participant. Maybe everyone who comes in gets 10 little wooden tokens, you know, and you put the sponsor's name on that, and then they can use those to tip or to vote on fan favorites, and then the performers can come and trade those in. It gives performers extra stage time if they do an interactive component like a salsa dance lesson or whatever it might be. It drills down on details on the event. They did an amazing job. And so that's, I'd really like to put it to use, all the work that they did. And it has a tremendous amount of background information on what different groups comprise Lakewood. I've been here a long time, but there was a lot of new information in that report that'll translate to all of our events. But I encourage you to read it. It's fascinating and it very much falls under the mission of the Lakewood Arts Commission.
That's great. Okay. Well, at this
Sounds
point,
fun.
Yeah, it'll be really fun.
well, at this point, we are through our agenda. Does anyone have anything else that they'd like to share at this point?
Just a thank you.
Yeah. If you're ever going to be a character and Olaf the snowman is an option, be Olaf. Olaf is the most popular one. Everyone loves Olaf.
Good to know.
Thankfully, I got to be Olaf because sitting next to Olaf was like feeling like second cheddar for a long time, and I was getting tired of it. I was like, hello, the reindeer's right here, but no one cared about the reindeer. So Olaf is the hit. That was really fun.
That was a hit, huh?
Thank you.
Well,
I do have something.
Go ahead, Sally.
How would the commission like to have ongoing education as part of maybe a meeting once a quarter?
Love it.
And what would be some topics?
I liked how you had the guy come in at their retreat and talk about, like his craft. So I would like to hear just from local artists for one, but anything else I could learn. I mean, I know this isn't as much fun, but someone even just to talk about like grants or something like that, just kind of different stuff.
That's a good idea, Patty. I like that.
So I have a question for Sally and Linda. So Tacoma Arts Commission has a fund that that's open to the public for the city of Tacoma for arts organizations to apply to. Do we have something like that or no? Not for Lakewood?
We are not there yet.
No. Still very much wannabes. We haven't arrived yet there, Lua.
Okay.
Yeah. For myself,
Susan,
go ahead, Sally.
Oh, I just, you're so ingrained in the art world. Do you have ideas around ongoing education for the board?
Who, me?
Sorry, Susan.
Oh, Susan, it would be the one for sure.
Well, Sally, we had talked a little bit about having somebody from ArtsWA come in as well at some point to talk about their public art and economic development through the arts program. So I think something like that might be interesting down the road. I know we talked about that, and also I'm thinking about some several artists too who have fairly prominent artists who it might be really interesting to come in and talk to us about their experience with public art and what makes for a really good public art program. I mean, we've got Julie Spidell just out of Vashon. She's world renowned, and she would definitely come and talk to us, I would think. And even in the Lakewood community, we have several prominent artists who are involved in public art. So yeah, just a couple ideas.
Thank you.
That'd be great.
Yeah. That would be really
That'd
good.
be fantastic. Yeah.
Okay, well, for my part, I'm going to reach out to Earl and let him know that we've come to a decision with regard to the wraps for the utility boxes, and ask him to call a meeting of the committee so that you can coordinate your efforts and get the necessary information so that we can move forward with that initiative. And other than that, I can't think of anything else other than to say thank you all for coming to the meeting this evening. And I think we've made a lot of headway in terms of our plan moving forward. And I'm looking forward to what 2021 brings. So, and thanks for being Olaf on that tip on Olaf there. After
of course. Just curious, is anyone here in the position where they got their vaccine? Just curious. Seriously, no one's an essential worker, medical worker. Yeah, I'm excited. I've got a lot of friends who already have it, and the nurses and doctor friends. I'm just really grateful for their work for 9 months. I want to give a big shout out to anyone on YouTube who's watching this meeting. We are really appreciative of the people who put themselves in harm's way for 9 months. They're finally protection, and we're excited about it. So.
I have, to your point, Paige, with the work I do on with Lakeview Light and Power, I had a meeting today, and some of the frontline utility workers, linemen and the like, they have received their COVID vaccine.
Oh, good. Yay.
So that was like the first group that I was aware of outside of frontline healthcare providers, first responders, and the like, who've actually gotten vaccinated.
If you have to go to work every day, you are an essential worker and you've been out in it. And I do feel the privilege that I have had to not have to be out there. And I'm humbled by the society that has had to be out there delivering packages and making a move.
Oh yeah.
I do not take it for granted where I sit in this place of privilege. So I do think.
Yeah. You're right about that. It's important to be mindful of those. Okay, well, good night, everybody. Have a pleasant evening. Stay safe.
Thank
Hi,
you.
guys.
Bye.
Thanks. Good night.
Good night.